Hi everyone, my name is Roxanne Leal and I am with Fit City SA today, and I am with Coach Mack, Lynn McDonald, and we're going to discuss mental fitness. So tell us a little bit about yourself and about Train the Mind.
I've been working as a certified mental performance consultant in the area for the last 15, 20 years, working with athletes, helping them to develop their mental skills, to help them perform better, to help them be more adaptable, resilient, perform better on the field and in the classroom.
How do mental skills help an athlete? Like, what would you say is the most important when you're building that program for a player?
Much like a physical trainer, we have mental skills trainers also to help the athlete to, trainer probably educates you about what you're working on. And so we do education, and then we help the athlete be accountable, right? And we want athletes to understand, especially our younger athletes, that no matter where you are on this continuum, just like you're working out physically, you want to get better. So no matter where you are physically or mentally, you can get better.
What is your approach when treating performance anxiety?
So, performance anxiety has to do a lot with thinking about the future, thinking about outcome. And so we just try to reel the athlete back and focus on controllables, what you have control over, which is right here, right now, what's in front of you, not
being present.
Being present. It's funny, we tell our athletes, focus. We want you to focus, but we don't teach them how.
Yeah.
And so mindfulness is a great way to help athletes practice that skill, right? The youth today and all of, not just the youth and adolescents, but adults too, our minds are all over the place, right? We've got social media, we've got teachers, tasks, boyfriends, girlfriends, coronavirus, we got all these things going on 24/7. And you look at the youth today and they're multitasking. They're doing all kinds of things at once. And then we get to a game or performance situation and your mind is all over the place, and we don't understand why we can't focus on one thing, the present. And we can't do it because we don't practice it. And so mindfulness really helps. It's a great tool.
What are like some signs and symptoms like parents should look out for, or coaches should look out for with their players and their kids?
I think, anytime we talk about anxiety or any kind of emotional distress, one of the things that surfaces early on is any kind of change in their normal behavior. So maybe an athlete who's normally really talkative and outgoing all of a sudden is the opposite, or vice versa. If they're very quiet and then they're a little more hyper and maybe more outgoing, any kind of change in their normal routine, we start to see problems with. If you as a parent are starting to see performance anxiety before a game, if you see that your athlete is beating themselves up or struggling for a long period of time after a performance, all of these kinds of things are things to look out for.
Now, mental health, versus physical health, when someone has a physical injury, it's more acceptable than if someone's like, hey, I'm mentally struggling here. Do you see that changing now in our society?
Yeah, I think over the last 4 or 5 years, we've recognized more so that it's okay
to not be okay.
Right, to not to be okay, right? It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It's a sign of
vulnerability.
Exactly. And vulnerability allows you to become better, right? If you don't seek out that support, that's when we start to have more and more difficulty. But, we are seeing more groups recognize mental issues, mental illness as being significant, and it needs to be addressed on a broad basis, system-wide.
Lynn, thank you so much for being here today and teaching us about mental fitness. It's something we all need to be aware of, not only just in general with athletes, but everyone around the world, and we can all benefit from this knowledge.